Brought to you by Penguin.
Peaches for Monsieur le Curé by Joanne Harris. Read by Rula, Lenska and Gareth Armstrong.
New Moon. Chapter 1. Someone once told me that in France alone 250,000 letters are delivered every year to the dead. What she didn't tell me is that sometimes the dead write back. Chapter 2. Tuesday, 10th of August. It came on the wind of Ramadan. Not that I knew it then, of course. Paris gets windy in August, and the dust makes little dervishes that skate and scour the sidewalks, and leave little sparkling flakes of grit on your eyelids and your face, while the sun glares down like a blind white eye, and no one feels like eating. Paris is mostly dead right now, except for tourists and people like us who can't afford a holiday, and the river stinks, and there is no shade, and you do almost anything to walk barefoot in a field somewhere, or to sit under a tree in a wood. Rue knows how it is, of course. Rue wasn't made for city life. And when Rosette is bored, she makes mischief, and I make chocolates for no one to buy, and Anouk goes to the internet cafe on the Rue de la Paix to talk with her friends on Facebook, or walks up to Montmartre Cemetery and watches the feral cats that slink among the houses of the dead, with the sun coming down like a guillotine between the slices of shadow. Anouk, at 15. Where does the time go? Like perfume in a bottle, however tight the seal, evaporating so slyly that when you open it to look, all you find is a scented smear where once there was enough to spare. How are you, my little Anouk? What's happening in your strange little world? Are you happy, restless, content? How many more of these days will we have before you leave my orbit for good, shooting away like a rogue satellite, vanishing into the stars? This train of thought is far from new. Fear has been my shadow ever since Anouk was born, but this summer the fear has grown, blooming monstrously in the heat. Perhaps it's because of the mother I lost, and the one I found 4 years ago, or maybe it's the memory of Zosie de l'Alba, the taker of hearts, who almost robbed me of everything, and who showed me how fragile our lives can be, how easily the house of cards can fall at the smallest breath of wind. 15. 15. At her age, I'd already travelled the world. My mother was dying. The word home meant any place we stayed for the night. I'd never made a real friend, and love... Well, love was like the torches that burn at the terraces of cafes at night, a source of fleeting warmth, a touch, a face half-glimpsed in firelight. Anouk, I hope, will be different. Already she is beautiful, although she is quite unaware of this. One day she will fall in love. What will happen to us then? Still, I tell myself, there's time. So far the only boy in her life is her friend Jean-Loup Rimbaud, from whom she is usually inseparable, but who this month has had to go into hospital for another operation. Jean-Loup was born with a heart defect. Anouk doesn't speak of it, but I can understand her fear. It's like my own, a shadow that creeps, a certainty that nothing lasts. She still sometimes talks about Lansquenet, even though she is happy enough here. Paris seems more like a stopping place on some as yet untravelled road than a home to which she will always return. Of course, a houseboat is not a house. It lacks the conviction of mortar and stone, and Anouk, with the curious nostalgia that affects the very young, remembers in rosy colours the little chocolaterie across from the church, with its striped awning and hand-painted sign. And her eyes are wistful when she speaks of the friends she left behind.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?